In this video, we will talk about how to find the area of an isosceles triangle. So let's check out an example. Let's say we have this isosceles triangle right here. And as a reminder, an isosceles triangle has two sides that are equal to each other. So we can see that in this triangle, we're told this side length is 10 inches and this side length is 10 inches. So this is an isosceles triangle and we're told that this other side is 6 inches. So to find the area, we can use this formula. The area is equal to 1/2 times the base times the height. Now the base we're told is 6 inches, but we don't know what the height is. So we first need to find the height before we can find the area. So one thing that we'll notice about this line that represents the height of the triangle is that it perfectly bisects the base. Or in other words, this portion of the base and this portion are equal. So if we take 6 and we divide that by 2, then that means this half right here, this must be equal to 3 inches. And another thing that we know about the height is that this line right here is perpendicular to the base. So it forms a right triangle right here. And when we have a right triangle, we can use the Pythagorean theorem to find the missing side if we know the other two sides. So in this case, here's our right triangle. We can see that the hypotenuse, the longest side, is 10. This leg right here is 3, and we don't know what h is. We don't know what this leg is right here. So the Pythagorean theorem says you can use a squared plus b squared must be equal to c squared, where a and b are the smaller side lengths and c is the hypotenuse. So here's what we can write. We can say h squared plus 3 squared must be equal to the hypotenuse squared, which is 10 squared. So we can solve for h and figure out what the height is of this triangle. So we can say h squared plus 3 squared, that's 3 times 3 is 9, is equal to 10 squared, which is 100. To solve for h, we can subtract a 9 from each side, so we get h squared is equal to 100 minus 9, that's 91. And to figure out what h is, we can take the square root of each side. So the square root of h squared is just h. So we get h is equal to the square root of 91, which we can't simplify, so we'll just leave it as the square root of 91. So now that we know the height and we know the base, we can find the area of this triangle. So I'll make a little room right here. Okay, so we can say the area is equal to 1/2 times the base is 6, times the height, which we just found to be the square root of 91. So we get the area is equal to 1/2 times 6, that's just 3. So we have 3 times the square root of 91, and we said that the square root of 91 can't be simplified. So this is our final answer. And remember the units we're working with are inches, so we'll say inches squared since we're talking about area. So the area of this isosceles triangle is 3 times the square root of 91 inches squared. And if you were to punch that into a calculator, you would get something like 28.62 inches squared. I prefer to leave it in the square root notation since this is an exact answer. So you can use that same process to find the area of an isosceles triangle when you're only given the side lengths.